Hello. Thank you for taking time out of your day today, Kimberly, and agreeing to do this interview with me. To begin, my first question is, tell me a little bit about the discrimination that you experienced.
Thank you so much for having me today. The discrimination that I experienced back then was colorism. I used to live on the East Coast and went to high school over there, and I was treated really well by all my professor and peers. However, I didn't really notice any type of racial discrimination until I looked deeper into their conversation around me. My friends at the time believed that they all get passes for racial jokes because I was part of an all-white friends groups. People believe that they can say and do certain things because they have an individual of another race in their group of friends. However, the purpose of myself being in the friends group doesn't give them the permission of making such jokes.
I'm sorry you had to go through that and the discrimination at such a young age. How did this experience impact you?
The experience opened my eyes regarding to conversation on racial topics in my life. For example, if someone makes a racial jokes in their life, does it classify them as a racist individual among friends of different culture? I have become more cautious and attentive of people that comes into my life, and I start to pay more attention to people's tendency regarding their jokes and humor.
I'm sorry to hear that this situation caused you to having to become more attentive about your surroundings. Colorism is a discrimination that no one should face. How did you handle it?
As a minority back in my high school, I try to laugh off their jokes, and most of them won't take the jokes any further. Afterward, the whole since the whole point of the joke is telling to get a reaction from the group of friends and draw some type of irritating reaction from myself. However, we were all friends back in grade school, so we used to tease each other, so the jokes never got out of hands.
I think you handled the situation to the best of your capabilities as you can as a young high school student. Hindsight is 2020. With this, looking back, how would you have wanted to handle the situation?
Looking back at the situation, I would probably pull my friends at the time over and tell them regarding some of the jokes and how it makes me feel. Even though we were friends at the time, it still doesn't give them permission to make such racial jokes. If I could have told my friends at the time how I felt about the joke, they can set limits and boundary to their jokes, and they can not make the same mistakes if they ever encounter somebody else of a different culture.
Thank you for sharing this. I believe it's great that you've been able to reflect back onto the situation. What would you like to see happen and create change, if anything?
Back in grade school, we focused on Black history, so we disregard other culture and ethnicity that endure the same racial treatment. Therefore, if we can make changes to history class and teach students about respecting other culture besides learning about the Black community's suffering, then we can help create better positivity and environment for culture with students attending grade schools.
You introduced some great ideas.
Thank you.
Teaching people about colorism is a great point. I could definitely see those changes happening to improve society. What would you like others to know in case they experience anything similar?
In life, you always have an opportunity to speak up about certain racial topics and situations that you feel strongly about. In other words, start a conversation regarding a racial topic will help other people understand what to do in those type of situation in the future. Therefore, being brave and speaking up about certain racial topic shouldn't be fear or looked down upon because it opens up conversation that help other people understand what to do.
Thank you for that. That was very moving. Thank you. And for my last question, what would you like the takeaway from sharing this experience to be?
What I like to take away from this experience is try your very best in every single racial situation by being understanding, kind, and courteous because the table can always flip and you can be the other person that is facing the situation at hand. In other words, put yourself in someone else's shoes and see the problem from their perspectives.
Mhm. Placing yourself in other people's shoes is a great perspective that you introduced and is a great takeaway from this entire situation. Thank you so much for taking this moment today and sharing this very vulnerable experience with me.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You as well.